That's a first for it, isn't it? Okay. Um, like to begin the Hammond Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for Tuesday, March 25th, 2021 to order. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Against
to the
the
flag of
flag
the
of the
United
United
States
States of America
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for
for
all.
all. Could we have a roll call, please?
William Hutton,
Present.
Nancy Reagan, Nancy Reagan,
Here.
Roger Brock,
Here.
Dennis Radowski,
Remember *6. Dennis, press *6 on your keypad.
Mr. Radowski? Maybe he left. Well, he might have gone to do something.
If it, yeah, I mean, if it won't unmute, also he could, redial. He could hang up and dial back in. I mean, too, but
Kathleen Hill,
Present?
um,
Mr. Radowski's name
he's
is appeared.
present.
Okay.
We spoke to him a little while ago. He's just not answering now. So we'll go with 5 present. We have a quorum.
Okay, yeah, the minutes, do we have a motion to table the minutes for June 29th, 2016, May 24th, 2017, July 26th, 2017, February 25th, 2020, August 25th, 2020, December 1st, 2020? Do we have such a motion?
I make that motion, we table them.
I'll
Mrs.
second, Roger.
Okay, that's Mrs. Reagan, and second was?
Roger.
Roger.
Okay, so let's say our names so we know, so they can record that, please. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Could we roll call vote, please?
William Hutton,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dennis Radowski,
Got his hand up.
*6.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention, motion passed.
all right. Has any old business come to the board at this time?
Madam Chairman, you still have to call for the approval of April
Oh, that's
27th.
right, I'm sorry. We still have the minutes for April 27th, 2021. Do we have a motion in regard to those minutes?
I make a motion, Nancy Reagan, to accept these minutes for April 27, 2021.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Roger Brock.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
William Hutton,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
okay, now as far as old business, I see none. Do we have any come before us since the minutes were printed? Hearing none, we'll move to new business. First item is Z-21-13, petition of DX Hammond, COPCO LLC for developmental variance regarding Title Section 12.31, parens B, parens 1, yard regulation to allow for a reduction in the side yard setback to 5 feet, which is less than the required 40 foot minimum in a I-2 manufacturing district located at 100 Digital Crossroad Drive in the city of Hammond. Have all the requirements been met?
Yes, they have.
Right. Do we have anybody that is presenting information in regard to this?
Yes, Madam Chairman. My name is Matt Reardon, and I'm representing DX Hammond OpCo with MCR Partners. We're located at 5920 Holman Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. First of all, I'd like to thank the board and the staff for their assistance with this ongoing project. I hope
Mr. Reardon, before you start, you want to give us your address, please?
5920 Holman,
Okay.
Hammond, Indiana.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no problem
No,
at all.
I'm just trying to get my paperwork together.
Gotcha. Again, I appreciate the commission's time and the staff's assistance in getting this project to where we're at today. Some of the members will recall when this project started over 2 years ago, we had a blank canvas, which prior to that was a coal-fired generating facility located on Lake Michigan, reportedly one of the top 3 or 4 most polluting facilities of its kind in the United States. We at MCR and DX OpCo, as well as the now Digital Crossroads, are very proud of the fact that we were able to remove that blight in the city of Hammond, working forward with our partners at HWC Engineering. And as you can see, Hope Martin is on the Zoom call, and she'll be here to answer any technical questions regarding construction expansion related to this project. But in summary, the Digital Crossroads is a leased property from the Hammond Redevelopment Commission. And on that site, we had constructed a little bit over 100,000 square foot data center. And on that site, what we found were a couple of things. One, our 100,000 feet fit well, that we have additional room for approximately another 300,000 feet. But with the existing facility, the tenants were looking for additional office and rental space so that they could operate out there. And it was at that point in time that our professional team recognized that the original design fell a little short, and that, I guess success has its own problems. We were tasked with finding the best way to develop an additional 10,000 square feet. How does that involve where we're at today? As the chairwoman mentioned, we are seeking a developmental variance from Title 12, Section 12.31B1, which would allow us to reduce the side yard setback requirements from 40, and our request specifically is at 15. So there's a couple of interesting things going on here. Normally the petitioner is the landowner and the contractor. We had to go request and were granted permission by the city's redevelopment commission at one of their meetings last month. And I know that Russell was present for that meeting. And what we found doing our research is that these parcel numbers were split into 2 different parcel numbers. And the purpose for that was for the identification and tracking of tax increment financing related to the project. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with the BZA, but has to do with clarity and some of the cleanup items that Brian Pullen suggested that we have accomplished after the board deliberates on this issue. So without further ado, let me address these 3 items. The activity will not be injurious to the public health and safety, morals, and general welfare. As I pointed out earlier, Digital Crossroads did go forward, leased property from the Redevelopment Commission on the vacated, demolished, and cleaned up coal-fired power plant. We constructed 100,000 square foot active digital Crossroads data center. Along with that, we constructed, pursuant to our development agreement, what we like, the wonderful Veterans Park, which is out there at the point. If you haven't seen it, I urge the members to take some time to go by there. I know that our contractors, our consultants, and the ownership team were very proud of that. And because of the fact we did follow our development agreement, which was constructed in partnership with the city, we believe that our project as defined today, which would be an expansion of the data center, will not in any way be injurious to the public health, safety, or general welfare of the community. Item number 2, the use and value of adjacent property included in this will not be adversely affected. I think it goes without saying that the project at its inception increased the value of the property in and of itself, the property adjacent to, and I'd like to say in the entirety of the city of Chicago, because of what we did to clean up that hot mess that was once the coal-fired power plant there. We allowed for some connectivity, not only between the trails from the city of Hammond, but also to be able to move on over to Calumet Park and have access to that. I can't underscore the change in the environmental conditions of the site, the general positive impact to the environment that occurred as a result of the development. And the fact that our project going forward and this particular expansion will provide probably some pretty sweet new office space for some tenants at the data center. I mean, who wouldn't like to look out your office window and have a look at Lake Michigan and the Chicago skyline? I know I would. I mean, I look out my window here and I like being on Holman Avenue, but I see the brick building behind me. So I would trade up at any point in time. And last but not least, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship related to the project. As I stated from the outset, the DX Hammond OpCo and its successors, the town agencies, and everybody else had been working in cooperation to make this project a reality. Without our ability to be able to expand the office space at this location and to receive the what we're requesting in the way of our developmental variance, we won't have enough room for tenants to be able to hotel and operate at this location. So it's with all those items in mind that we respectfully request the consideration of the board. And Tom, I don't know if I can do it but I would like to take this opportunity to show the board an entire panel of pictures real quick so that they can see what was approved and what they participated in.
Yeah, and you have share screen as an option, right?
I should be able to, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so board members, I'm gonna kind of walk you through. I included some pictures with the request as specified by your process, but just so you can kind of see inside and out what we're looking at. So this is the main conference room in the data center, and you look out the window and that's facing south in the Hammond Marina. There's another little cubby space, workspace, office, adjacent, kitchen area. And This is the view looking, let me see, I always get confused because this is in a weird spot in the city, but
Northeast,
is
Linda?
yes, that's looking east. So you can see those lovely power lines and generators and all that good stuff. Those aren't ours. Those are Commonwealth Edison's. As much as we would like to see them gone, in the short term, they're sure going to stay there.
And we should note, this design gives full access to that substation for ComEd, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So these are some of the on-site generators that were constructed as part of the project. Here's some inside fun stuff. These are part of the pumping operations that cool the units that are put inside the facility. I don't know. That's computer stuff. No, I'm just kidding. That's part of the pumping operation at the facility. That is the pump house. And we also received consideration from the board regarding that, if you'll recall. Here's some of the cooling units and adjacent, and this is on the west side of the facility. Here's the inside walking in. This is the entrance area. That is the conference room. This is the conference room I showed you earlier. Here's a overhead of the project. The new development will be on this side. You guys see this thing? Okay, so you can see. And here's a nice perspective of the project looking south. Again, the building expansion would be on this side. This is the 5-foot setback we're going to need your consideration on. This is the view from Illinois. And for those of you that are big Chicago PD fans, you might have noticed that this little guy was in one of the last 2 episodes, along with some footage of the Calumet Harbor area. Front end, inside, not very exciting, but that's where all the money goes. Those computers. That's the pump house and the piece of resistance. So this is the view into Chicago. So I remember at the outset, the Plan Commission, the other city entities wanted us to try and dress up this facility and make it look as to have some kind of curb appeal and not be utilitarian. So you see some of this brickwork and undulation of the roof line here. Because of the operations, it just requires an inordinate amount of redundant power. So even though we have this over here with ComEd and via NIPSCO, you know, we have our generators, backup generators here and there. So that's what I wanted to show the group. If anybody has any questions about the expansion of 10,000 feet and maybe the timeline, please feel free to ask. But for now, that's all I have for my presentation.
Do any board members have any questions?
Madam Chairman, the staff has some,
Okay,
points.
I had a question though. As far as Mr. Reardon, you had stated in your information that once and if expansion is approved, parcel, and you quote 005 would be expanded to include both existing buildings and new ones, correct?
Yes, and as I mentioned, what had ended up happening is related to the TIF district, tax increment financing. So when you create an allocation area, you essentially draw a box around the asset. So that's what was done at the auditor's office. So if you go on to Lake County GIS site, you'll see several different key numbers. Some of it's owned by the county, some of it's owned by the city. Some of it's owned by leased by DX OpCo. And then if you'll see, there's a box out there, and that's all they show when you get on there. So it involves these 2 key numbers. And so once we make the expansion, because the 004 would encroach onto 005. We'll consolidate that. So all those, yeah.
Mr. Reardon, I think I understand all of that. My question really will involve probably you and the staff, because looking ahead as far as the recommendations, it doesn't seem like that our approval will be based on that being met. And you're basically saying we have to approve before you can get the reconciliation going. So what am I missing?
Oh, so there would be no reason to consolidate the key numbers or expand them without the building improvement. So I need the developmental variance of 5 feet to be able to build that. So once that's done, the key numbers will be reconciled so that all the improvements are within one key number.
Okay, so basically the staff recommendation does not necessarily mean that the approval, basically I'm meaning our approval is based on that reconciliation already occurring. And you're stating that you can't get the reconciliation to occur until it's totally approved. Am I missing something here?
Chairperson Hill, Mr. Reardon is making the point correctly. And that really is a discussion for when the staff is making its staff report. Right now, we're still at the petitioner making his presentation, and the staff has some questions regarding clarifying some of the statements on the presentation. And then we'll defer any comment on the staff reports, staff's recommendation at the time the staff presents that.
Okay, fine.
So, Mr. Reardon, I think you kind of misspoke on something. At least I heard it wrong. I think in one of your initial statements, you said the setback variance was 15 feet. I think you just misspoke and meant 5.
Oh, yes, I sure did. It's 5.
Okay, yes. I mean, you said 5 every time after that. It was just that one time. The other thing is, and I think, maybe Tom, you can help me on this, or Hope, the square footage of the addition, is it 10,000 square feet? Because we seem to have it as 12,730.
12,730 or about that.
Okay, so Hope, it is 12,730, exact?
12,729.
Okay, close enough. All right, so just.
I was trying to give you an extra foot, but.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of just making sure the numbers are understood by everybody. So those are my clarifying questions that I have regarding the presentation.
All right, any other board members or staff members like to make any comments? Hearing none, we'll move into the open for public comment period. Anybody in the public like to make any comments or questions? Mr. Yanni, are you raising your hand that you'd like to, or what? Okay, I'm sorry. Anyone in the public? Hearing none, we will close this period of public comments. Mr. Reardon, do you have any other comments you would like to make?
Oh, Madam Chair, I do not.
Okay. All right, any board members at this time like to make any additional questions, ask any questions, or? Okay, hearing none. I had received at our last meeting a new procedural thing, and I think I'm going to change it a little bit if it's all right with the staff, in the fact that I am going to request that the board members accept the staff report into the record so that we see that it has been accepted into the record and we're not making as far as just inserting it. So we know that the staff has approved it, and to accept that into the record and just have the staff read the recommendations. Is that all right with the staff?
Yes.
We may go off on and go beyond that, but the whole issue is that we have determined that we've clarified some of the information, just to make sure we're clear that it's a 5-foot setback or 5-foot 1-inch setback. It is a 12,729 square foot or 12,730 square foot addition. The issue regarding the 2 key numbers is a matter that is being addressed in the recommendation as far as to reconcile or consolidate the parcels, because otherwise you would have a building built across 2 tax ID parcels, and that's not typically allowed. So therefore,
Mr. Poland, then you would like as far as the board to accept the staff report as amended, as with additional comments for corrections into the.
I am not amending the staff report. I am summarizing the staff report so that we have a clear record regarding some of the information that was, kind of just misspoken about. So the staff recommendation is that the staff has reviewed the petitioner's request and recommends that the BZA grant the developmental variance should the board feel that the petitioner has met the standards, and this is subject to the reconciliation of the 2 parcels.
Okay, but we still have not made a motion, correct?
You don't need to make a motion.
All right.
We have made we've made our report.
Okay. All right. You do not want it put into the record, though?
It is in the record by the fact that we have presented it.
Okay.
Unless our attorney advises me otherwise.
No, it's part of the record.
Okay, so the next minutes will not just say that they just been added into, correct?
If you want to have that type of motion,
Well, I just want to make sure that we are protected in the long run, that it is definitely
we are,
accepted into a record.
the staff does not object to you having a motion that would accept the staff report as presented into the record.
Well, I just feel that it might be in the benefit in the long run in case anything would happen, that it is definitely in the record.
Duly noted.
Okay. All right, we also have then as far as findings of fact.
Madam Chairman, are you not going to request that motion?
Well, you told me we didn't need a motion.
I said,
Oh.
I also just said we do not object to it if you wish to have that
Oh,
motion.
okay, all right. All right, do we have a motion to accept the staff report as presented by Mr. Poland into the record with its recommendations? Do we have such a motion?
I'll make that motion
That is-
that we, go
Okay,
ahead. Oh, this is Nancy.
do we have a second?
So moved, it's Dennis.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
William Hutton. William Hutton,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
all right. We have received as far as proposed findings of fact. Have been prepared by the staff. Any amendments? Any corrections? Any comments from board members? Do we have a motion to adopt the findings of fact as presented?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Oh, Nancy.
I'll second, Roger Brock.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
okay, do we have a motion in regard to the developmental variance for Z-21-13? Do we have a motion to approve the developmental variance for Z-21-13?
I'll make that motion. Roger Brock to approve.
I'll second that motion. Bill Hutton.
We have a motion and a second, but we have a roll call vote, please.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
and it starts your work.
Thank you very much.
After you get
Thank you.
after you get 005 taken care of.
We'll get it taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, it looks like Z-21-14A and Z-21-14B are pretty much together. Is it all right if I read both of them together?
No objection.
Okay, we have Z-21-14A petition of Bishop Roman Catholic Diocese of Gary for a developmental variance regarding Title Section 21.26 parens A and Title Section 21.21 parens B provides no sign shall exceed 32 square feet in area to allow greater than 32 square feet for the parking lot sign, parens sign 1 on Bishop Knoll High School property in an S2 instructional district located at 1435 Chicago Avenue in the city of Hammond. And Z-21-14B petition of Bishop Roman Catholic Diocese Gary for a developmental variance regarding Title Section 21.26 parens A and Title Section 21.21 parens B permit installation of programmable message display sign, provided such sign shall not be greater than 1/3 of the total sign area to which it is a part, to allow a programmable message display area greater than 1/3 for the parking lot sign, sign 1 in an S2 institutional district located at 1434 Chicago Street in the city of Hammond. Okay, have all the requirements been met for notification?
Yes, they have.
Mr. Yaney, you are presenting this for the petitioner?
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair.
Okay, must state your name and address, please.
Sure. My name is Scott Yaney, Yahne. My business address, 9301 Calumet Avenue, Suite 2F, Munster, Indiana, 46321.
Mr. Yanni, could you speak a little bit closer to the, yeah, because it's not quite of a strong sound.
All right, let me do. I'm having an audio issue, so I've got two computers going on. Are we working right now?
It sounds better for me now. Thank
Getting a
you.
little staticky too, I'm getting.
Yeah, there's a slight amount of feedback, but we'll do the best we can, Scott.
Okay.
That's cool.
Do we also want to consider 15 now? They are incorporated into the same letter. It might get us through a little quicker this evening, but that's up.
We need to do 14A and B and then separately 15A and B.
Okay, very well. Okay, well, good evening. We are here, I'm here on behalf of the diocese. And with me this evening, on behalf of Bishop Noel Institute is Paul Mullaney, who is the principal. I think you see Paul on the screen. If you have any questions for Paul, he'll certainly be able to weigh in. We had it was an awfully impressive presentation before us, but I feel pretty fortunate tonight to get to represent these folks. Bishop Institute, Noel Institute has been a part of our community for a considerable period of time, and they're looking to really update their campus. One of the things that they do is to update signage. And I'm going to request 2 signs here this evening, but I'll focus on 14A and 14B first, which is what I would call the parking lot sign. And it's referenced in the supporting letter as that and all of the materials. We have, let's see here if I can share this image. Let's see. Well, let's see. It does not give me the customary options. Well, in any event, let's see here. I'll get to that in a moment, try to figure out the issues.
Should allow you to share screen.
I think I have a new computer, which is causing some of the, it's like I might have to enable. Okay, I'll have to do that at another time. I'm sorry. It's going to take some background work on it. We have an existing sign that is a panel sign with letters. And essentially, we're seeking to replace that existing sign. It is located adjacent to the parking lot. And this sign is used to primarily communicate with students coming into the facility. I think you will see it at my page numbers may be off, but you'll see it in the supporting letter. And we want to modernize that sign with a programmable message board sign. In making this request, we have some developmental variances that we need to discuss with you that we would require your approval to move forward, because the sign that we propose is greater than 32 square feet. And the sign, the programmable message display is greater than 33%. In fact, for this particular sign, it is 69% of the sign face. And so those are the 2 developmental variances that we are seeking this evening. As to the first element, we need to establish is that your approval will not be injurious to the public safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. With respect to the 32 square foot limitation, essentially we're replacing a sign of very similar dimensions. So this isn't something new. This is replacing an existing line or existing sign that is slightly larger than the current sign. But the location of this sign is such that it's not visible to passing motorists and it doesn't impact anybody off campus. And in fact, the sign is intended, one of its uses is to impart important safety information to students and would give the ability to staff within the school to communicate with people entering from the parking lot. So in fact, we think this enhances safety, not impairs in any way. And then kind of jumping ahead, which I mentioned, the programmable by exceeding the 1/3 limitation that is imposed on programmable signage to in this instance, 69% of this sign face. We need this greater visibility to communicate the information that I just referenced. And as mentioned earlier, this is visible only to those in the parking lot, not to passing motorists. Thank you, Tom. Not to passing motorists or anybody else who could be distracted by a programmable sign. So we respectfully suggest that this sign meets the criteria related to public safety. The next item, our second element, is that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Bishop Knoll Institute is a gateway, if you will, to the city, right along Chicago Street. Also, the tollway is in our backyard, and we think that rather than detracting, this sign will be an enhancement, in particular the pylon sign that I will discuss with you later, will be an overall enhancement to Bishop Knoll Institute, add some vibrancy to the campus, some updating that sends an important community message about the value of education in Hammond, and we think will give some new life in that area to suggest that this is an educational institution that we care about and that things are going on. And I think that enhances the entire community and certainly the area. This is, neither sign is going to affect residential areas just in the way that it's located, but I'll discuss that more with the pylons. Then our third element is that strict application of the zoning ordinance would result in practical difficulties regarding the use of this property and the placement of this signage. If we had to replace, we have what is currently a non-conforming sign adjacent to the parking lot. Were we to have to replace that existing sign with a smaller sign, that would result in practical difficulties that would not allow us to serve the intended use of this parking lot sign. And so that's why we're seeking greater than 32 square feet. As for the programmable message display, that's a component of this size. Yes, we're exceeding the 1/3 limitation, but that does enable us. To communicate important messages to students and others entering the building within that parking lot. And as Tom is showing the location, having a much smaller sign just would not serve that intended. So based on the establishment of the required criteria, we are seeking approval of the developmental variance to exceed the 32 square foot area for case 14A. And we are seeking approval of a developmental variance to exceed the 1/3 total sign area, the programmable component of the sign that would be greater than 1/3. Actually, it would be 69% of the total sign area, and that's in case 14B. So accordingly, we refer this to your discretion, but seek approval here this evening.
All right, thank you. Do any board members have any questions of the petitioner? So in both A and B, they're both just replacing as far as the signs, correct?
Yes, A and B involve the same parking lot sign. We're replacing that existing sign.
Okay. Any other questions? We'll open for public comments. Anybody in the public like to speak for or against? Anyone in the public? Seeing none, we will close this period and give board members an opportunity to ask any other questions or ask any questions. Mr. Novak, when we do this, can we do both of A and B together as far as they vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, Madam Chairman, that question should have been directed to me.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Mr. Follen, can that be done as both A and B together?
Yes, that is, yes.
All right, hearing no questions from board members. Do we have a motion to accept the staff report into the record and just have the staff read their recommendation?
Madam President, I'd like to make that motion. Bill Hutton.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that, Nancy Reagan.
We have a roll call vote.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
staff like to read their recommendation?
Sure.
Tom,
Staff has reviewed the petition.
Tom. Staff has reviewed the petitioner's request and recommends that the BZA grant the 2 developmental variances should the board feel the petitioner has met the standards.
All right. All right, we have some findings of fact as far as that's been prepared by Mr. Poland and the other staff members in regard to Z-21-14 A and B. Members of the board have any additions or any amendments they would like to make to the findings of fact? Or would they like to adopt the findings of fact as presented?
I make the motion, we adopt the finding of facts for Z-21-14 A and B as presented. Nancy Reagan.
Madam President.
Yes.
Madam President, I second that motion. Bill Hutton.
Do we have a motion and a second? Could we have a roll call vote?
William Hutton,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
we need a motion in regard to the developmental variance. Do we have a motion to approve the developmental variance for Z-21-14 A and B?
I'll make that
Madam
motion to
President.
approve. Go ahead, Bill.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
right. We will move into, so we can Z-21-15A, petition of Bishop Roman Catholic Diocese Gary for developmental variance regarding Title Section 21.26, parens A, and Title Section 21.21, parens B, provides no sign shall exceed 32 square feet in area to allow a sign greater than 32 square feet for the new pylon sign, sign 2 on Bishop Knoll High School property in a S2 institutional district located at 1434 Chicago Street in the city of Hammond. And Z-21-15B, petition of Bishop Roman Catholic Diocese Gary for developmental variance regarding Title Section 21.26A and Title Section 21.21B, parens B, permits installation of a programmable message display area greater than 1/3 of a length greater than 10 feet for the new pylon sign, sign 2 in Bishop Knoll High School property in S2 institutional district located at 1434 Chicago Street in the city of Hammond. Have all the notification requirements been met?
Yes, they have.
Right. Mr. Yanni, I think you pretty much presented what you needed to with Z-2114 A and B. Would you like to explain what the difference might be, if that's okay with the board, where we just have that understanding? Any board members prefer he go into the presentation again, or we okay with this? Just as far as differences, variances, changes? Hearing no comments, go ahead, Scott.
I'll try to make it pretty brief in terms of the request here. You'll hear that essentially we have the same request for this pylon sign that we did for our parking lot sign. The one distinction is that we also added on a request to increase the width because we are 10 feet 3 inches and the width limitation is 10 feet. The first item, and yeah, thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate it. Tom was just showing you where the sign is located with the arrow on the screen. Will be on Chicago Street. And there are a number of potential developments in the future of Bishop Knoll Institute that if those do in fact take place, this sign will fit within that footprint that is contemplated. But for right now, you'll see it's just to the north of the south, the softball field, about in right center field is where this pylon sign will be located. And Tom, would you be so kind as to perhaps show the pylon sign we have in mind? We have an elevation. I think I saw it up earlier. But this is going to be a substantial sign that I think is going to really reflect well. It's in the page, it's on page 6 of the supporting letter that I offered with our petition. It's in your packet. There it is. Thank you, Tom. But you'll see this is a substantial sign that incorporates Bishop Knoll's colors. And it has a programmable sign, and I will get to the elements that where we need some assistance from you all, or at least a determination that these variances are in order. Specifically, we need to come back to you because this sign is greater than 32 square feet. In fact, this sign is, there it is. Yeah, the sign is, let's see here. It's 93.77 square feet upon a sign structure that is 256.67 feet. And Mr. Poland helped me determine those figures because Hammond has in its ordinance a calculation mechanism about what is included in determining the measurements, what constitutes signage, and then by process of elimination, what constitutes structure. And in this type of a sign, you can see that there's, I'm sure this is all clear and understandable to Mr. Poland, but Scott needed some help figuring these measurements out. But essentially though, we do absolutely exceed 32 square feet. So we do require assistance in meeting that requirement. Secondly, again, the programmable portion is greater than 1/3 of the total sign area. In this instance, it's 60% of the signage component, not the overall structure, but of the signage component and what we calculate. Going through the factors once again, public health, safety, etc. This sign is, as you saw, adjacent to Chicago Street. And it will be, this sign is designed to communicate with people who are entering Bishop Knoll Institute. And in this instance, you know, people may need to be directed in for football track fit, or there may be signs related to events going on, be it a graduation event. And this is intended to communicate to folks that are entering Bishop Knoll. However, one of the elements that we consider, so that's why we need the size. It needs to be large enough to be visible and also fit the scale of the high school itself, which, as we know, is a large structure. And for this to be visible within the context of that structure is something that we need to keep in mind if we're going to safely direct folks in. As to the video component, once again, there's going to be information on that board, but that information, although it will change, is going to remain static for at least 9 seconds, which is compliant with the Hammond ordinance. And certainly anything that goes up there in terms of the programming element of this sign will have to be compliant with the ordinance. This sign in particular, I think, talks to the impact on the surrounding area, including, you know, motorists passing, they won't be able to read what's on the sign, but certainly putting up a sign of this quality and this nature, just the colors itself, is going to reflect well upon our community, you know, that people are passing on the toll road even. I think this will greatly add to kind of that gateway corridor, you know, as people enter from East Chicago into Hammond along Chicago Street. And, you know, there are properties, you know, maybe it's coincidental, but there are properties that have been long vacant directly across the street. And I think even just recently that there's some activity to market those properties now. And right across the street from us is a commercial use. So this property is not going to impact residents or adversely affect any neighbors whatsoever, but rather will serve as a nice introduction to the Hammond community. Strict application. I talked to you about the, you know, just in terms of the size of this sign to fit within the structure of a high school campus. We really need greater than 32 square feet. In other areas, for example, if we were in a C4 district, we would have more square footage allocable to us. But this is in an institutional district that has different limitations. But in the case of a high school, we think strict application of the 32 square foot limitation wouldn't make sense, and it certainly would not make our sign visible to passersby. And likewise, with the programmable message component exceeding the 1/3 limitation, you know, we'd have to have a really, really large sign to meet that 1/3 and still have something visible. And we respectfully suggest that that calculating or that having a sign of that size would stretch us in the other direction of, you know, what type of sign, how big it would need to be for it to be visible. And then there is the other element. you know, it fits within the scope of the entire sign structure, although it doesn't fit within the calculation for the signage itself. But we would ask for some deviation, some leniency from strict application of the ordinance to limit us to the 33%. So in summary, we think that Bishop Knoll is coming forward with something that will reflect well on the community, serve its campus well, people to and from the campus, and serve an important interest to show that this is a community that values education at schools and is going to support those schools in, remaining vibrant and an important part of our community. So I'd ask for your support.
If any members have any questions? The 9 seconds you mentioned as far as a message, would that be able to repeat the message over and over again though, Mr. Yanni?
As I understand, it would be an image for 9 seconds, and then it could change to a different message, but it would have to stay static for 9 seconds before it changed. Otherwise, a single message could stay up for longer than 9 seconds.
I'm not sure if that's what the intent of the ordinance is, Scott, but we can discuss that.
Very well. And I probably will defer to our sign folks to speak to you directly on that so we get everything programmed just as it should.
Okay.
Can I ask well, I tend to ask crazy questions anyway, but in the information we receive, we have Bishop Knoll as far as owners and as far as lessees. What are they? I would assume they're owners of the property?
The actually, the bishop is the owner of the property.
Okay.
And Bishop Knoll is
Lease it from
institute.
the bishop?
Paul can speak to this more directly, but the bishop in essence is Bishop Knoll Institute.
Okay, and does Bishop Knoll lease from the owner? Because you mentioned they were a lessee in your information at times.
It would have been a mistake if I listed that.
Okay,
It's my-
all right, that's what. All right, thank you. Hey, any questions from members of the board? Other questions? We will move into a period of public comments. Anyone in the public like to speak? Hearing none, we will close this period of public comments. And board members, do you have any questions at this time? Giving you an opportunity to ask them. And we then will be taking Z-2115A and Z-2115B together. Do we have a motion to accept the staff report as presented in our packet and just have the recommendations read into the record at this time? Just recommendations read with the staff report. We have such a motion to accept the staff report into the record with the staff reading.
Madam President, I'd
Yeah.
make that motion. Bill Hutton.
I'll second Roger Brock.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
all right. We have the findings of fact as presented by the staff.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
are you going to have the staff read the recommendation?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought yes, they will. Yes, we will. Are you reading them, Mr. Boland?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Staff has reviewed the petitioner's request and recommends that the BZA grant the 2 developmental variances should the board feel the petitioner has met the standards.
Alright, now we will have the findings of fact as presented. Any changes, recommendations? Or do we have a motion to adopt the findings of fact as presented?
Madam President, I make that motion. Bill Hutton?
I'll second Roger Brock.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
do we have a motion from a board member in regard to the approval of the developmental variance for Z-2115A and Z-21-15B?
I'll make that motion, Madam President. Bill Hutton?
Is that for approval of the variance?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the developmental variance. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Nancy
Roger
Reagan
Brock.
will second it.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy Reagan second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay. When do you think the signs will be up? Any idea?
Well, I want to, and Paul may have some more direct information, but as you were speaking, I was extremely remiss because I want to thank Brian, Tom, and Shannon because we really tasked them and asked for their help in a really big hurry because we've got to get this. Paul, correct me if I'm in the wrong here, but we need to get these rolling in June. And it was really important. We just got information we needed to file this petition and we scrambled to put it together on our end. But I want to really thank Brian, Tom, and Shannon because they bent over backwards to let us get here tonight and did a lot of work in a hurry on our behalf. And I just want to say thank you. Really do appreciate it.
And I'd like to echo that, Scott, too. I'd like to thank that Brian and Tom and Shannon, and really appreciate your guidance.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
To answer your question, Madam Chairman, we do want to get moving this summer. We have, with the school year, we have always have a short window when one school year ends and the next starts. We also are in our 100th year. So that's exciting for us here at Bishop Knoll and for the city, celebrating a centennial. And so we have some plans in the fall too to hold some events with our alumni, et cetera. And so we hope to move pretty quickly.
Congratulations on your 100th year.
Thank you very much.
All right, we will move it. Any commissioners have any comments? Any staff comments?
Hey, Tom, clarify for me, did we have anything for the June meeting?
It's looking like I believe we will not. So
Okay,
we have a reprieve.
okay. That being said, Madam Chairman, staff request that the board meet in some fashion, not in a public setting, to go over some of our procedural procedures on how we conduct meetings.
Okay, when would that be? And then is there any time, another time when we do get our packets that we can have them sooner? Again, I was out of town when they were delivered and I came back today for this. I mean, which is no problem, but I would like to at least have an advance notice, and I think less than a week.
Well,
So when we work on that,
Well, the request that I made was for the board to meet with the staff to discuss about the board's procedures and that.
which is fine.
Well, but you asked the question of when. And so
Yeah.
to answer the question of when was that we can still use the official date in June of the BZA to have that meeting.
Okay.
So I'm asking for confirmation consensus that the board is going to meet on the 30th to discuss some of our procedural aspects.
I agree.
Is this again going to be a Zoom meeting, or are we going to be able to have an in-person meeting?
I guess that really depends upon the governor's position and order that is going to expire on the 31st, and how we can conduct ourselves. But we have, at least more than 30 days to figure out whether it's going to be Zoom or in person.
Okay.
So is that an official consensus from the majority of the board members?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So as far as Ms. Reagan, your other question, yes, at that meeting, we can also discuss the timing of the packets and those types of things.
Okay, that'd be fun. Great.
Okay.
All right, any public comments?
No further comments.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? As I have 7:13.
I'll make that motion.
I make the
Roger Block.
motion.
We need a roll call for that, or is a vote? All right,
Just do all in favor, just do that.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Have a lovely Memorial Day, everyone.
Yes. Be
You
safe, everybody.
too. Enjoy the nice weather.
Thank you.
Thank you for our patience tonight.
Thank
Bye.
you.